So Kevin Durant,
It's taken yet another pivot.
this is the thing, right? Because we know that Kevin Durant has notified the team, hey, get rid of Nash and get rid of Sean Marks, the GM, and then maybe I'll stay. He's told the owner that. I want to talk about it from this lane here, right? Because now you have all of these teams reiterating their interest, putting that out through these media outlets. The Phoenix is back engaged, and Miami, and even I saw Philadelphia 76ers, but it's going to be 25, 30 teams that's going to be leaked about. Even if it's fake news, it's Kevin Durant. So my thing is, what I wanted to talk about from this lane here, do you really want Kevin Durant? It's my question.
That's connected to the first cycle of this trade talk. Several weeks ago, I'm not sure the time gets away from me, but he demanded a trade a while back.
Yeah.
There was, it was at the kind of earth shaking at the time. It's like, what other superstar with 4 years left on his deal has gone on the open market?
Yeah.
The problem was the Nets demanded too much.
Right.
And it literally posed the question that you're asking, like, do you really want Kevin Durant? And the cost of getting him in that first cycle was too great. And I don't think, it's kind of like whether it's Kyrie, whether it's Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant has not proven that he can win a title with just one other player of significance.
Right.
And the way that the trade proposals were percolating was that you'd literally have to give up any semblance of young talent and maybe be able to hold on to one significant roster piece, which is what he has in Brooklyn. And teams looked at it and they're like, that's not that great.
Right.
We haven't seen this work before. And they took a pass. And I think that Kevin, the way I look at this is no trades happened so far. He's getting a little bit, what am I going to do? Nothing's real clear. And so this is his second stab at this. And now he's going to say, well, I may have to stay in Brooklyn, but if I do, I don't want to do it with the current administration. I want changes there. So that's the card he played. And then the other thing, the double-edged sword of that is by making this plea, there's a part of it that maybe that puts the needed pressure on the Nets to actually make a trade.
Right.
If they stand by Marks and Nash, what do? I've now created a leverage point where they do that. Now, when you talk about all these teams now kind of cycling back on the deal, what they're cycling back to do is, what's the discount at? What's the Bubba Pink discount code? We knew what the price was before. in early July.
Yeah.
Is the price different now?
Yeah.
And is it something that I might do this? That's what's going on for me.
I think it's all about it's about reiterating his trade request. I think what happened was he saw that, hey, I think these guys are going to call my bluff and roll this into the regular season with me on the roster. I need to somehow spice this heat up to get the hell away from here.
Yeah, this move, make no mistake, this move has a scent of desperation to it.
Yes, a desperation to it. But what I'm saying is, okay, so even if the trade, even if it comes down, and the market bears what it is, right? So say for Boston, which I think only a couple of teams are in prime position to get him and have the assets that make sense, and which is Boston, Golden State, and Philly is in that mix, but definitely after those teams. So for example, Boston, which had a lot of heat for a couple of weeks there, if they come down the asking price to maybe Jaylen Brown, Smart, and a few picks, right?
Well, here's the catch. One of the things he said about Boston is he would want to play with Marcus Smart.
Right, but but you're not getting KD for just Jaylen Brown. That's not going to happen.
No.
So it's either or okay, well we'll throw Robert Williams in, which I think hampers that team more than I think Robert Williams is more important to that team than Marcus Smart if you add Kevin Durant. You understand? Like you need that. You need that. So I still don't think, if I'm Boston, I still don't do it.
I really like Boston's roster. I thought their offseason moves were very good.
KD is 10 to 11 years older than Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be giving up another, Marcus Smart is in his prime, and Robert Williams, if you go one or the other, is about to enter his prime. Maybe he's probably a year or two away from his prime, and Durant, who knows what really makes him happy. You leave OKC after being, successful as you can be without winning an actual championship. You know what I'm saying? And then you leave that situation, and we say, okay, you can't win with Westbrook, ultimately. So, okay, cool. You go to Golden State, which a lot of people didn't like, but Golden State was the perfect situation for you. You leave there because you want to win on your own. I mean, you want to do it your way. You want to be the reason. And then you get to Brooklyn where you want to be with your actual friend.
Alleged friend. I still don't buy that they have a meaningful relationship.
Yeah.
I think that's a little.
Yeah, they would act a little differently, but Kyrie's a different cat, so I don't.
Kyrie's a completely different cat.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's a guy that has in-league friends like that.
Friends.
Yeah. I mean, he's cool with people, I'm sure. But I think KD's a little bit the same.
Maybe. KD, we've been seeing a lot of him hanging out with James Harden, ironically. And I still don't think Durant is coming to the 76ers.
I think they share a common interest in
weed.
weed.
And that's Boston. Philadelphia 76ers, I'm a diehard 76ers fan. I don't want KD. I don't want him. I don't want to have to give up Tyrese Maxey. And that's the only person I don't want to have to give up. Because they will only ask for Tyrese, and Tobias can go and stuff like that. But and picks. But I don't want to give up Tyrese, and I don't want to give up 2 picks that could help us down the line get something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be pissed if we got him. But what I'm saying is, I'm not clamoring to get him.
I agree with you, and we've talked about this before. My thing on KD is tremendously talented player, but he's a player that's unsuited and unwilling to be a face of the franchise.
Yeah.
And do all that's necessary to lead an organization. He's not comfortable doing that, and he won't do it. So if you add KD, your only chance for success is to have somebody that's willing to carry that banner like Steph did. Now, interestingly, with Philadelphia, I think Joel Embiid is comfortable with that.
It could work. I'm not saying it couldn't work.
Yeah, but it's one of the places that you could look at and say, well, Joel will do that. And now KD gets to just hoop.
Versus Boston, that's another tricky situation because Jason Tatum is not going to lead that team, especially with Kevin Durant on there. He's going to look up to KD. And looking up to KD, who doesn't want to lead a team, period. He just want to play basketball. So you got 2 guys that just want to play basketball. Ultimately, you're thinking you're going to give up Marcus Smart, who is the actual leader of that team.
Yeah, I mean, KD, we kind of talked about this last night too. KD and Kyrie are pushing the envelope of player power.
Yeah.
They've both made leverage plays, wanting to get out, wanting to do things on their own terms. And I don't know, for the first time in the modern era, it's not working.
Speaking back to their friendship, another weird thing is Kyrie has reiterated his interest to stay with the team.
Yeah.
That's odd to me, too.
Oh, yeah. But again, none of these things are in a vacuum.
Yeah.
He wanted to move, but nothing happened, so he opts into the lucrative last year of that deal.
Yeah.
So, maybe I could still be moved, but there's no real movement. The Lakers are the only team, but they're limited on assets that people want.
Is that to save face?
Yes.
Is he saying I want to be all in on the Nets and let's win because basically nobody else wanted me, so I need to.
That with both. I mean, that's the point I made with KD.
Yeah.
Part of it, you're still leveraging to maybe get what you want.
Yeah.
But you're also coming to grips with the fact that I may be in Brooklyn this year, and like KD, I mean, part of that play is, I may be here. I don't want to be coached by this guy, and I don't want to be general managed by this other guy. Yeah. I want my own people in here to make Brooklyn the best it can be for me.
Yeah.
And I think, we all do this. You may want a job or you may want something, and it's not coming about, and then you kind of do the mental gymnastics with yourself and say, hey, maybe I'm actually better, in the situation I'm in, and here's why. Or let me just double down and focus on that, and maybe the next good thing's going to come my way.
Yeah.
These guys are human. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're kind of recalibrating their expectations. They're trying to play out what leverage they have to make the situation as good as they can. But it's been, to me, a pretty harsh, definition of what their power is as players in the league.
It is, and it's funny, players at that level, man, I don't know if they know what it takes. What does a good team look like? Because and it's funny because players always pull the card where I played the game and you didn't, but they don't know. Because Brooklyn is a good team right now.
It's especially ironic for those two guys who have been on championship teams.
Yes.
Like, you're not talking about guys that, like, have always fallen short or whatever, and maybe they don't quite get that missing piece. Like, they've done it.
Yeah.
They've run the marathon and come in first.
Yeah.
And somehow they've lost the essence of what that is.
And these teams are similar to the Cleveland teams. I mean, with more interesting pieces. You know, if you equal LeBron to KD, and I'm talking about from Kyrie's perspective, like, I don't know what's such a big rush to get out of Brooklyn, outside of if you hated Sean Marks so much for doing the James Harden Ben Simmons deal. But you know, that's the only thing I can see, because outside of that, everything they backed and kind of initiated. Like, they wanted DeAndre Jordan for $30 million. That wasn't Sean Marks didn't want that. That was KD and Kyrie.
I think they were just both trying to run from failure. And since they got there, it's really been failure there. For a couple of reasons. I mean, like, they KD missed the whole first year. Then, everybody but KD broke down by the playoffs last year.
But this isn't the same roster.
No, I get that, but they're running from failure. Like, literally, when that team was put together, and we said it on the show, this is the appearances of a super team.
I was like, they may not lose.
And I said it too.
Yeah.
And for 3 years they're together, they've known nothing but failure.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're running from that.
Yeah.
They're looking at each other going, and I don't know that they're blaming each other, but like, this hasn't worked out.
This hasn't worked out.
I need to get to something else. And, KD, he's very aware. Like, the clock is ticking.
I'm not getting younger.
He's not getting younger. Kyrie's younger. But, again, he's his own dude, and it's just he's different, man. And
KD has that Golden State cloud over him.
And again, it still goes to that face of franchise thing.
Yeah.
Where – and it's part of their nature. I think, fight or flight guys, these are flight guys.
Yeah.
It's gotten tough, and their instinct is to let me get the hell out of here,
yeah,
rather than to double down and say, hey, we're getting it right next year.